I am a big believer in plant propagation, and I have shown you in the past how I propagate my carpeting plants, various Anubias types, and even stem plants. And I do all of that at almost no cost on my side. And some free plants can really make a difference in this hobby, because plants are not cheap and we often need a lot of them. So today I will show you another very cool one. I will show you how I multiply my Amazon swords. Okay, so this is one of my tanks. And yes, I know it looks really bad and was very neglected. But at the time of the filming, I was already planning to do a full restart of this tank. And it's actually done already, and video about it will be released soon. But if there is one good thing about this tank, is that beautiful Amazon sword. It's big and very healthy, and this is great because it's ready to grow this, a long stem with runners on top of it. Let's take it out of the water and have a look. Yes, this is what we want. And this is what will save us a ton of money. So if your Amazon sword is having those runners, and if those runners are starting to develop roots, it's time to propagate them. So let me just cut one of these and show you exactly how I do that. Here you can see those propagation stems more clearly. As you can see, there are multiple individual plants already growing there. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can just cut this stem and simply plant those plants in your tank, and it will work. But there is at least 10 of them, and Amazon swords are big plants, so think this through before you do that. But luckily there is another option. What I like to do is to propagate them and grow them immersed. The best way to propagate plants is to use one of these. This is a special container for plant propagation. But don't worry, you really don't need to have one. And to prove that, I will use small cube like that and one glass jar, just to show you that you can as well. Because those plants like to grow in very rich substrate, we need to prepare it first. So, at the bottom of the containers, I will place this root tap that will make my substrate rich in nutrients. To have a better distribution of those nutrients, I will spill the contents of this all over the bottom, just like that. And next, I will cover all of it with this used substrate that I took from my other propagation box. Yes, you can reuse this stuff many times. And this soil comes from another propagation box that was done growing my stem plants. So, no added cost. And by the way, it worked great for those. Now, I just dump it on top of those nutrients, and just like that, we have a great medium for growing immersed plants. Next, I plant those small plants exactly like I would in my tank. I just need to leave some space between them so they can grow comfortably. And I do exactly the same thing with my jar, because the process is the same. Nutrients, used soil, small plants. And we're done. As a last step, I cover my containers with plastic foil. I do that to keep the humidity inside. This is very important. And just like that, I'm done. From now on, all I have to do is occasionally open it and spray it with water. And of course, keep it in very well lit place. That is all. For how long? It's completely up to you. In my case, I will show you 9 weeks progression. And there we are. As you can see, growth is very obvious. Plants are much bigger and they are doing just fine. This is how I kept this container, right next to one of my tanks during its dry start period. You may recognize this tank from my other project. And I'm always shocked how easy it is. All I did was spray it with water every 3 days. I could spray it a little bit more because you can see here some of the leaves are not exactly perfect, but little more spraying could be better. I would remove 2, maybe 3 leaves that are doing the worst before planting those plants in my tank. But for those specific plants, the most important is to have a strong root system at this moment. So let's take one out and see what we have here. Oh yes, this is what I'm talking about. Compare that plant to what I was planting there 9 weeks ago. This is a big and healthy plant with very strong root system. And I have a lot of them. Too much in fact. And if you're concerned about potential melting and transition from immersed to submerged form, see this plant right there? Well, this is one of those plants. It's already in this tank for weeks. And it's doing fantastic. Just look at those colors. I did that to show you that there is nothing to worry about and melting is really not a problem. And now you might be wondering, why do I bother with all of this? Can I just plant those plants right away? Like I said, yes, of course. But here I have much more options. I can blast it with lights for like 12 hours a day with no chance of getting algae, and this will stimulate much faster growth. I can keep many plants for very long time and have them available wherever I need them. And I do. Sometimes I keep my plants like that for months. And finally, I can sell or exchange them for other things useful in this hobby. And I'm doing this for so many different plants, so many different types of plants, that I really don't need to buy them anymore. And I have 12 tanks running right now. And remember, I do that basically for free. I reuse the soil from the tanks I'm taking down over and over again. I don't use dedicated light, but I rather use the light that is running anyway. I use jars, Tupperware, basically any container that is transparent, and it always works for me. So, like I said, I propagated stem plants, Anubias, carpeting plants, and now Echinodorus. And I'm not done yet. You can find all details about my process in my other videos. If you haven't seen them, links are in the description, so you can check them out if you wish. And right now, I'm working on something that will be a basically infinite plant factory. So if you're interested, consider subscribing so you don't miss that one. Please hit the like button if you like the video. But for now, thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.